Hi everyone. I want to talk today about the new season 8 cast for Rupaul's Drag Race and give you my first impressions. Um, since I'm pretty good at judging pageants and I have done well last season on Drag Race trying to guess winners each week, I thought I'd try starting at the beginning this time and giving first impressions based on just their picture and their video that I watched, their introduction video. Each one's about 2 minutes or longer, a little bit longer. So I'm going to go through the list. I'm going to give you my scores of first impressions. Now, before I do that, I just want to say a couple things. One is this is not based on their talent because I haven't really seen their talent in any way except their look. And also that I don't know any of these queens. I've never seen any of them in any way. So that's another thing that has to be taken into consideration. The It's just for the overall look and what they said, and that's what this is based on. So, in other words, if I didn't really like someone now, once I see them perform or at least do runways, then I may have a different impression of them. So, let's start with Acid Betty. And Acid Betty is a very colorful queen, that's for sure. In fact, I'm afraid that she may be a little too one note if she's not willing to change it up a bit. Kind of like Milk or someone like that who really wanted to stick to just who they are, you know, that famous quote. And it's great to be who you are, but when you're in a competition, you do have to adapt for those challenges. And so Acid Betty, I'm giving out of a 10-point scale, I'm giving 7.5 for my initial impression only. And she may be a very talented queen. I'm hearing a lot of good things about her from people who do know her, so I'm very curious to see. And I'm looking forward to Acid Betty's performances, or at least seeing more of her. But I just think that she's kind of coming across as a one-trick pony. That her drag is going to be completely taken over by just being colorful and being different and having the really weird wigs and all that, and that's okay, but it gets a little old fast, I think. And this is all just my opinions. Nobody has to agree, but that's what I'm here to do, is give my opinion. So Bob the Drag Queen was the next queen, and I actually really liked how he came across. I think it's really bold to use that name, and I think that he looked great. Colors were good, but not overpowering. Like Acid Betty was a bit like cartoon. So I gave Bob the Drag Queen 8.5 out of 10, and I think there's a lot of hope for him to go far in this competition. Now, there's only 12 queens this year, so it's going to go quicker. By the way, the show starts March 7th, they said, and I'm looking forward to it. That's only about a month from now, and it'll be that much closer to spring, which I'm always looking forward to. So Bob, I liked his outfit, or her outfit, however you want to say it. And again, the hair was great, very dark or deep red, great hairdo. I just think the overall look was really good. It wasn't the most realistic. We're not talking about always realism or looking like a woman, but I just think as an overall presentation, I liked it. And I'm tempted to even inch him up a little higher, like to a 9, but for now I'll stick to an 8.5. So moving on to Chi Chi DeVane. Chi Chi, I was not impressed from the very start. The look, the way this person sat in the chair was frumpy looking. Presented him or herself. I tend to call him or her when they're in drag, so we'll say that. Presented herself not so well. I mean, this is your initial impression that you're giving to thousands or millions of people, so you might want to sit up and you might want to look excited and present an image that seems interesting. I don't think she did. I was not impressed at all, and I think Chi Chi will be one of the first to go. Chi Chi, I gave a 6.5, which was the lowest score on my list here. So Chi Chi is my least favorite from those videos and pictures. Now, from the still picture alone, she looked good, but the video tells a completely different story, in my opinion, and the presentation just isn't there. I think she's one of those queens where she's really not quite ready for prime time, in my opinion. Cynthia Lee Fontaine. This is a Puerto Rican girl who's from, I believe she said, Texas. So Puerto Rican in heritage. And I really liked Cynthia. I think she looked great, very realistic as a woman. And, you know, that's something that's important to me in drag. I want my queens to look realistic. Now, they can look wacky sometimes or fun, like Bob the Drag Queen did, but in general, I like them to look like a woman because to me, that's what drag's about. Now, you can do all kinds of women, campy, full figured, and on, but that's what drag is to me. So, Cynthia looked sharp. I really liked the look, kind of reminded me of Audrey Hepburn, like a Hispanic version of Audrey Hepburn. Skinnier, I think, maybe. She seems kind of tall and also has a little bit of an accent, and sometimes it's hard to understand what she's saying for her name, I thought. But overall, I think she did a good job presenting herself, and I want to see more. So I gave Cynthia a 9. I gave Cynthia a 9 out of 10. I was really impressed from just the video. She could be a dead fish on stage. Who knows? I mean, you never know until you see these people. And that's why I've always said, and I will always believe, that RuPaul's Drag Race should do more lip syncing, more performances, and less things that are not, you know, essential to being a drag queen, like, you know, singing challenges, live singing, and acting. I mean, you know, those are fun, but I just wish they would do more lip sync battles, and that would help. You know, like in the runway, take the bottom 4 and have them in 2 pairs sing or lip sync for their lives, and then one final lip sync. Then you'd get to see more people lip syncing. So that would be, I think that would be great. Now moving on to Derrick Berry, who's the Britney Spears impersonator and has been on America's Got Talent. You can watch those clips on YouTube. I did. And Derrick is really good at what he does. And I am a little worried about him also being a one-trick pony. But I have a feeling he's going to adapt. I think he's a pretty smart cookie. He didn't get this far without being a smart person, as she. And so I think Derrick will, you know, do well in the competition. And I think that he looked really good, and he doesn't just look like Britney Spears. I gave him an 8.5 out of 10. I was pretty impressed, but there is that one hesitation about, you know, getting away from just being Britney. Like in Snatch Game, assuming he makes it that far, I assume he'll be Britney. And actually, I think he'd be stupid not to be Britney, since that's what he specializes in. Kind of like when Chad Michaels did Cher, and you know, people didn't say, "Oh, well, you should try something else," or a lot of us didn't. But you know, it would be kind of interesting to see something else. So we'll see. But he looked really good, just in general, taking the Britney out of it. Dressed extremely well, looked feminine, and all that. Then we come to Dax, Dax exclamation point. So, very interesting name. I guess Dax is his boy name, and then the other names he tried didn't seem to fit, so this is what he's stuck with. I gave him an 8.0 out of 10, and Dax, I don't know, he's not sticking out in my mind right now. I mean, I can vaguely remember what he looks like, and I don't have the pictures in front of me right now. But it just wasn't that memorable. I mean, all the others I've talked about so far, I can see them clearly in my mind. I don't need the pictures. But Dax, so-so. You know, I'm 8.0 is what I gave him, as I said. But, you know, it could even go a little lower. I don't know. But right now, that's what I'm going to stick with. He looked good from what I do remember, but I may be getting him confused with somebody else. So I'm going to have to look at the picture of him again. Kimchi, no, I remember Kim clearly. So that's always it's good when you remember them from first impressions. And this was last night. I haven't seen him this morning. Except the group picture, I mean. So Kimchi is from Chicago, Asian queen, Korean actually, and I believe they said first Korean queen on the show. By the way, this season the first episode, I believe they said, is the 100th episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, which is good because then it could go into syndication possibly. I don't know if that works with these kind of shows, but a regular show, that's when it kicks in. And also, this will include the 100th queen. So I don't know who that is, but we'll see. Kimchi, I gave a 7.5. I like Kimchi's look, and I like her shtick, let's say. But again, she reminds me of Bob the Drag, or no, I'm sorry, Acid Betty, in that she's got, the and what do they call it, anime look, and the makeup is very particular, and she's cartoony, very cartoony. So if she stays like that, then I think that's a concern. If she cannot adapt, it's kind of like what I said with Acid Betty. I have the same feeling, and so I rated them the same also, 7.5 out of 10. I actually think that Kim has more promise than Acid Betty, in my opinion, just for the reasons I've mentioned. I think she will adapt. I think she's kind of like Manila Luzon in a way, as far as an Asian queen that will be able to do many characters and do different things and different looks, and I think she will adapt. So I have more hope for her. Laila Mcqueen is the next queen, and yeah, I wouldn't say I had a whole lot of hope for Layla. She had the dark hair in the front and the, I think, purplish hair on the sides. She just didn't look that polished. I gave her a 7.0, and that's the second to the lowest out of these 12. Chi Chi was the lowest. So I don't have a lot of hope for Layla. Again, she doesn't seem very polished, and I don't know, she wasn't very impressive. She didn't come across too well to me. Kind of laid back, and doesn't seem to want it all that much. And then Naomi Smalls is the next one, which she took her name from Naomi Campbell and Biggie Smalls, and there's Naomi Smalls. She looked really good. I really liked her. I gave her an 8.5 out of 10, and I think she has a chance to go a long way, or at least halfway through the competition, I'd say. I would hope so. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, when I really like them, I mean, obviously I want them to do well, and I think they will, but it's just my opinion. It depends what they do in the challenges and how the judges perceive them, and just the results they achieve. So, but you have to start somewhere, and I think from initial impressions, Naomi slayed it, you could say, and so I think she's well suited for this competition. Now, Neisha Lopez. Neisha was, to me, the best of the girls that I saw, as far as my first impression perceptions. So she, again, looked very good. She presented herself well, and she's got almost a Bendela creme, little tiny bit of Bendela creme in her, and I always like Bendela, and I think she also presents very well as far as her outfits, her clothing, her appearance. She looks real. Um, I believe she said she's a pageant girl, and with me loving pageants and judging pageants, I can see it, and I think that she has a lot of chance to go far. Now, she has to take advantage of that. She has to perform, so we'll see. But Neisha Lopez is my top pick at this point. And then we'll see. I mean, maybe after the first week she won't be, but for now she is. Robbie Turner, Robbie is an interesting queen. I think that she's sort of in the middle of the pack. Um, I gave her 8.0 out of 10, so kind of in the middle of those 6.5s and the 9s. Um, I think that Robbie is one that, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, possible, Little haircut or hairstyle, excuse me. Mine's a haircut. Hers is a hairstyle, and I think that she looked fairly real, and she has the potential. She just needs to step it up a little bit, I think, and it could go. It could work. And last of all, Thorgy Thor 7.5. I gave her. She reminded me of someone, and I haven't been able to place it yet. One of the other queens that's been in this competition before. I think there's a little bit of Tammy Brown in her, but not nearly as wacky and goofy. But there's someone else, and I'm just not remembering who, that Thorgy kind of reminded me of in this video. Now, she had a very particular look to her. Um, I just don't know if it's going to translate into wins in this competition. This is not to say, any of these Acid Betty or Thorgy, for instance, they're not talented, because they are talented, or they wouldn't have made it this far. They seem like they have huge followings where they're from, and also they do a different kind of drag than maybe what I really like, but doesn't mean I wouldn't enjoy them. So I think Thorgy is the campy queen of this season, and there's actually several, but sort of more campy than the rest, if that's possible. And I'm interested to see what Thorgy's going to do, but with what I like in mind, just not my favorite queen. So we'll see. And one other note I wanted to make is that I'm really surprised there's not a plus size queen this year. There are four, I believe, African American queens, and that's great. There were two or three, I think three Hispanic queens. So it's a very diverse cast this year, which is nice to see. I mean, they've always got diversity, but more than normal, I think. And then, of course, Kimchi, the Korean contestant. So, with that, I'm looking forward to March 7th. I would like to know what you guys thought of these contestants, and now that we know officially who the cast is, please give me your thoughts, and we'll compare notes, and then we'll see what happens when the competition starts. Take care, everybody.